working with Oil and Soil Conservation Service. That went into NRCS, I think we call it now. I guess for nearly 60 years we've been cooperating. We've been watching it, we've been working with it for years and years. It's been beneficial to us and our personal operations, benefit to all Alabama, all of the nation really. And then just thank goodness for people smarter than I am, and they were smart enough to come up with the idea of soil conservation districts. You got local folks involved in the decision process, cooperating with the federal people, soil conservation technicians, and other agencies. It's a concept understood by too few people.
One thing that's just extremely exciting is working with conservation tillage. And we're learning more and more every day. And our farmers are learning that they can grow most any crop using a no-tillage or a conservation tillage system to grow the crop. And now the new technology shows that we can make equal or better yields using conservation tillage methods. It tremendously reduces soil erosion and soil loss from the fields, as well as improves soil quality, and it's going to help our land be more sustainable.
We've done some work with on one of the farms with the equip, which on that particular farm I ran a hunting preserve. We were able to put in a lot of different shrubs, and we put in some perennials and that kind of thing that give the farm in general a better look and a way better production as far as our quail and our wildlife population. It's helped, that's for sure. It's encouraged other people to want to do more.
Probably the most important thing for us as a farm is water conservation. Straw mulch, first saw it in Australia a few years ago when I went there to tour some orchards with friends. What we found when we were there is the Australian cherry growers were saying that they watered about half when they used straw mulch as compared to when they didn't. And so we view it as a real way for us to save water on this farm.
I've been working with the NRCS for actually 45 years. And they've helped me become a better steward of the land and grow some of the very finest sweet cherries. My father was an old-time rancher, wheat rancher, and he'd point out how the land was slowly eroding away. And it concerned him a great deal. So we went to try to get some professional help to minimize our soil loss problem. So they've always made themselves known to be there to help you if you were genuinely interested in preserving America's lands.
NRCS provides a wide array of engineering services to our nation's private landowners. One of those areas that we provide service in is in the area of stream rehabilitation or stream restoration. Most of the areas in stream restoration that we work in range from fully natural solutions all the way up to hard structural techniques. Natural solutions may involve soil bioengineering or reconnecting a stream to a floodplain. And certainly healthy streams provide benefits far beyond the boundaries of the stream itself.
I went to NRCS in soil water conservation, and we started working with a way to use this property, that's roughly 600 acres, as kind of a dual purpose, and run the bison on it and also be able to take a crop. And so it's been a real success. I'm kind of in the infant stages right now. It's a 5-year project. The hardest part, I think, for myself was to justify taking land out of production. And I think most farmers, or all farmers, are environmentalists. You know, we want to do the right thing because the land takes care of us. But to take property out of production and lose the profits that are there, it's really tough to do. That money just isn't available. So with NRCS, the help of NRCS and soil and water conservation, we've been able to justify taking that land out of production, getting it back to where it should be, and fencing out our wetlands and our drainages, We all want to do that with the government and the co-op. We've been able to start that practice.
There were some farmers who felt like they were not being able to access USDA programs, and so what we did was we worked with those employees. We put on workshops. And basically, we did a workshop on cultural sensitivity. We did one on how to gain trust. And then we let the farmers themselves talk about what issues they were having. Then we broke them up into small teams and allowed for interaction. And at the end of the day, we talked about what lessons have you learned, what can you take back and do differently. And from what we're understanding, the farmers are pleased with the higher rate of level of service, and employees have less anxiety because now they know how to go out and do outreach and be successful.
So what I did with the NRCS and Dad and I both did, and we're like, tell us what's going on here with our ground, you know. And my grandfather and my father have always been very good stewards of the soil. This is what you get, you can't change it, take care of it. Don't burn it up, because that's how it started in the beginning when you had the guys farming tobacco. And when we first came over here, you know, they just go from farm to farm to farm to farm and use up that ground, and they just kept moving west. Well, I can't move west. This is all I have, and I need to take care of it. And so I had a soil scientist come out, and we walked the entire farm and dug lots of little holes, checking compaction, and then we'd walk across the street and check the neighbors' compaction and see how they were doing. And then we brought out the NRCS and said, okay, we know that we have a compaction problem here. How do we combat this? What is the best solution for our farm in the short term and in the long term to make sure we don't do this again?
We're incorporating the use of cover crops with vertical tillage, which is going to increase the soil structure, change that soil structure, remove soil compaction, and increase water infiltration. We're going to be building soil organic matter through a system like this, and that's good for everybody. When we can put more organic matter and soil carbon back in the soil, it even reduces greenhouse gases and greenhouse emissions for us. As we adopt conservation tillage and reduce the number of trips across the field, that certainly reduces our demand on energy to produce that crop.
I'm the environmental coordinator for the Pokagon Band of Potawatomi Indians, and I'm coordinating the wetlands restoration out here. Our property is located on the Kankakee River, and it's part of the former Kankakee River Marsh, and we're going to be restoring 1,200 acres. This whole area is very significant culturally from a standpoint that this area was used extensively by our ancestors to hunt and fish on, so it kept them alive. Well, one of the first things we did, NRCS helped us out by surveying the soil types that we had out here. Obviously, we're part of the old Kankakee River Marsh, so we knew we had an abundance of muck soils. And after we got an outline of where that was, NRCS came in and did a detailed elevation survey using high-precision GPS equipment.
I think one of the reasons I enjoy working for this agency so much is the wide variety of opportunities I get to have with working with landowners. One day I may be working on a white-tailed deer habitat management plan, and the next day working on improving wetlands or endangered species habitat. We have a wide variety of programs designed to help wildlife habitat be improved on the farm. At the same time, understanding that farmers and ranchers have an economic objective they're trying to meet, and we're trying to help them meet that at the same time.
I'm Joe Gallegos and the sequero. That means that I am one of the pacientes, or one of the people on the acequia or ditch system. The acequia is a community based around a ditch system. And our medium is the water. We are a community because we all depend on each other to get the proper flow into our property so that we can be productive farmers.
We are really focused on declining species. And being the ocean state of Rhode Island, we're very focused on our coastal resource. And we believe that our waters here, our working waters, are critical to declining species of finfish and shellfish. And the types of habitats we're focused on are seagrass beds or eelgrass, coastal wetlands like the salt marsh we're standing at in Newport, Rhode Island, and as well as our migratory fish streams, our anadromous fish runs. We're really excited about our seagrass restoration program, our eelgrass restoration work, which is basically trying to restore our underwater marine pastures or underwater grasslands that used to be much more prevalent throughout Rhode Island as well as New England and the Northeast. And we're finally seeing some of the greatest success in restoring seagrass beds here in Rhode Island than anywhere else in New England.
Well, we had a rain event in June of 1998. And I remember it well. It was only because it was the first year that my man was with me. And it was horrendous. They had to let all the sewer treatment plants go, and we had millions of gallons of sewage. And what it did was it created such a pollution problem that we started to see the green sea lettuce in the deepest parts of Narragansett Bay, which we had never seen before. And at the same time, we started to see our kelp and our horsehair, those types of weeds that were common there, we started to see them disappear. And I think maybe about 3 to 4 years ago, I'm not sure, we started to see a little more resurgence of the typical weeds, which was the kelp and the horsehair. And along with that, we started to see habitat living in it, because all that tells me is that the quality of the water is getting better, because that was the reason why the eelgrass left in the first place, right? It was due to pollution. So if that's a successful project, just tells me that the water quality is getting better in Narragansett Bay. And I mean, that's a plus for everybody.
You know, basically, conservation is everybody's business. It's just all of us working together. One man can't do it, one agency can't do it, but all of us working together, we get the job done. You drive over the state of Alabama, it looks so much better than it did 50 years ago. You drive over the nation, it looks so much better than it did 50 years ago. It's a great nation in which we live. And it's just, I'm proud to be a little part of it, that's all.